WagerTalk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, $99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.
Good morning, guys. Good afternoon or good evening, depending on when and where you are watching this show. Of course, a nice little mic issue to start off this show is always nice, but I'm happy to be back on Puck Time for Thursday's edition. Always a jam-packed day of NHL hockey on Thursday. Yesterday, though, some weird games, some sloppy hockey, but some interesting ones as well. I believe we had some pretty good winners given out yesterday on Puck Time. We'll try and do the exact same thing today. Of course, I'm Andrew McInnis. We have Carmine and Bianco with me as usual, my co-host, and Brian Leonard in his usual Thursday spot. Carm, I thought I was, getting hot in the NHL. I'm on a decent little run myself, but you are now 10-0. Congratulations, Carm. I wanted to ask you how your night was, like I usually try and do, but I feel like it was a very, very good night for you, man.
Yeah, it was a quiet night for me. I thought you called me Bianca for a second. I'm like, Bianca, why did he call me Carmine Bianca? But yeah, no, it was a quiet night. I watched all three games. They're all, quite frankly, as I told you guys before, they're all ugly games. I watched the Chicago one. Seattle laid an egg in the first period, looked really good in the second, just couldn't score. And Chicago now 4 in a row with their after the coaching change. And then, of course, the Washington one last night. I did have Washington as the 10-0 play, and I said halfway through the game and third period, this is going to be an ugly goal that wins the game, unfortunately, and it was. But the right team got the ugly goal, so I was pretty happy with that. So we move on to today in a full slate of games, and we've got one of my favorite guys, Brian Leonard, here to discuss them. Brian, how's it going?
Good. If my last name was Bianco, I would be looking to date only Biancas. Bianco.
Well, I'll tell you, that Canadian tennis star, Carm, maybe she was just on my mind because, for good reasons. I can see why she would be, but apologies if I did pronounce your name wrong. I was probably a little flustered after my microphone wasn't on when I opened up this show. But Brian, how are you, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing good. Thanks a lot. College basketball season has started and gotten off to a nice start in college basketball. NBA's coming around. Hockey's coming around. Other than the Cleveland Browns pick I had on Sunday, which was ugly as hell, everything's going pretty well. And I don't even know why I'm even talking on this show. Mark, if Carmine's on a 10-0 run, let's just talk to Carmine all day long and pick his brain a little bit,
No, Brian, I actually, while we have you on today, we can talk about this later, but if you can make it out next Wednesday instead of Thursday, you can have that spot if you want. The Prez will be in Punta Cana, driving the locals crazy there. And Andrew, you're going to love this, okay? Because next Thursday is Thanksgiving Day. There is no hockey next Thursday. But Prez came on and complained about that we only bring him on Wednesdays, and there's only 3 games. Well, probably next Wednesday there's 14 games, and he's not here to discuss any of them. So that's got to be great.
In that case, I'll be on Wednesday, and tell him you're making a special offer to him. He gets to come on Thursday next
week. Yeah.
Exactly.
We'll let him know. And the funny thing is that we talk 4 games every single week or day, right? That's what our segments are. It's 4 games, best bets at the end. We try and give out some promos. And yesterday there's 3 games on the slate. So only 1 less game than we would talk with any other guest. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter if there's 14 games or if there's 4 games. We still only talk about 4 games each day. And Prez comes on and he's upset that he's always on during the small cards. Well, he only talked about 1 less game than we're going to talk about today with Brian. No matter how many games are on the card, we just break down 4 games. We do have best bets, though, at the end of the show. And today, my best bet actually is a prop that has a really, really good streak behind it. But guys, let's dive into today's games, and we'll get into some promo stuff afterwards. But great to have Bryan on, and awesome to have Carmine here with his 10-0 run. Looking forward to hearing what these guys have to say today. Rangers, Leafs, Jets, Oilers, Devils, Panthers, and Stars and Wild will be our games for today. Rangers and Toronto, that will kick us off here. Minus 180 home favorites here for the Maple Leafs. The Rangers are plus 150 on the road. Total sits at 5.5. Gotta ask, Carm, what do you think right now about this Rangers team? Have you been impressed with them? Are they a buy team, a sell team? It's, for me, been kind of interesting to follow them because I feel like they've been mispriced in a lot of games.
Yeah, I think they have. I think they're both buy teams for me. I've been big on this Rangers team all season, and heading into this season, I think they're going to make a good run at the Metro and the East. And it starts with goaltending. They've got a good lineup there. They've got three very good lines, a good defensive corps. And then, of course, you've got Shesterkin in net. And the last time they were in Toronto, you remember that game. It was him and Campbell, and they put on a goaltending display. And the Rangers, quite frankly, stole that game in Toronto. I had them. I was happy about it. But they stole that game in OT against the Leafs. I'm not quite sure that's going to happen again today. As good as they are at home, I'm so on this Rangers team thus far on the road. A pretty good record. I think it's 3-2 on the road, but a couple of those games they backed into wins, including this one last time in Toronto. I'm kind of looking at the Leafs regulation line here, just because the Leafs are playing extremely well right now defensively. We just keep saying it over and over again. They've got 2 shutouts in their last 4 games, this 4-game win streak. They're playing well. They've only laid a couple eggs at home thus far, and those came to the Kings and San Jose. The only other loss was that overtime loss to this Rangers team. I'm going to look for the Leafs, who are playing extremely well right now, to get it done in 60. So instead of laying that big price, I'll take the minus 120. And I've told you about, me taking positions on regulation time as opposed to a higher full game line. I expect the Leafs to be a little higher by the time game time rolls around. So I'll take the 120 instead of the full game minus 190 or wherever it's going to be at. Bryan?
I agree on the side, but I prefer the full game, as we've mentioned before, going back and forth on this. If you're just going to tell the team that you're going to win the game, it wouldn't matter if it's an extra. It doesn't matter if it's in a shutout or a shootout. They just want to win the game. So I would prefer to lay the 180 here. And if it does go up to 190, that's even better. That means I get a better line. I beat the closing line, which is always a goal in that regard. But yeah, the Rangers, for myself, are one of these teams that they're looking great at one point, and then the other times I bet them and they look terrible. When you take a look at expected goal percentage, they're only at 44.16%, 30th in the league, but they've only been outscored by 2 goals in 5-on-5 play. Toronto, on the other hand, are at 55.98, and they've only outscored the opposition by 2, 31-29. So if you're looking for some regression, the regression is on the Toronto side, and both teams enter this game on 4-game winning streaks. But I think the Rangers have been a little bit lucky. They've been winning the coin flips in these games. As after those 4 games, they've only outscored the opposition by 5 goals. Toronto also enters on a 4-game winning streak, but they've outscored the opposition by 8 goals. Toronto's playing really good ball, and they're playing at home. And the Rangers are a team that I just haven't gotten the right games to pick on them this year to be able to advance. Used them the other day, and they just didn't show up. Maybe that has something to do with my thinking, but I prefer the Toronto side here. You're getting the better team, playing at home, playing really good hockey right now, and I think the Rangers are a little bit overrated.
I think so too, Bryan. And I look at this Maple Leafs team, and they're just rolling right now. And I think the biggest difference between the Maple Leafs of right now versus the Maple Leafs of even the start of the season is that, like Carmine said, they're defensive right now. And the reason why we're so shocked is because it's the Leafs. I mean, they were known for being a team that had to score 4 goals to win games. And now they're, winning games by scoring 2 or 3 goals. And in the NHL today, and this type of, hockey that we're starting to see, that's kind of rare, to see a team consistently, playing to lower scoring games. You look at teams like the Florida Panthers, even like the Colorado Avalanche right now. It's very rare for them to be in a game that they're winning, that they don't score 3, 4, 5 goals in. So I have to give my respect to the Maple Leafs. But I will say this, guys, I'm still waiting to see some depth scoring come out of the Maple Leafs. We're starting to see a little bit of it, but if you have great defense and great goaltending, you don't really need that depth scoring, because you can just have your big 4 or 6 players, score a couple goals for you, and all of a sudden you're winning that game. So hats off to the defense of the Maple Leafs, 100%. This is a good one here, Brian. I'm going to start with you this next one. This is going to be a good hockey game. The Winnipeg Jets and the Edmonton Oilers. Oilers minus 160 here. Winnipeg Jets plus 135. Total is at 6 right now. We know the Edmonton Oilers can score. We know they have the ability to put up some big, big numbers. I made a joke on the show a couple days ago, Brian, that Leon and Connor have more points combined than the Arizona Coyotes have all together, which is absolutely hilarious. But what do you think about this matchup? Because I just look at this Winnipeg team, and I think that they've been competing. We've seen some players pick things up for them. They're kind of having a group effort. They have their quote-for-quote swagger back a little bit. But Edmonton here, I just think that they're a little bit too fast. They've got a little bit too much to offer. If they get some solid defense tonight, for me, it's hard to go against them. And Winnipeg, hats off to Buster, because Buster said they were going to have a good night a few nights ago, and they did. Is this a good spot for Edmonton or a good spot for Winnipeg here, Bri?
Well, the spot screams Edmonton here, if you ask me. That said, the line's getting up there now where it's unplayable. It opened low, so whoever got in on Edmonton early got some good value there. But Edmonton on the season, as good as their record is and as well as they played, their expected goals per 60 is minus 0.16. You look at their what they've done so far this year, they haven't really been overly impressive, except for they're winning the games. Winnipeg's impressed me. They played well this year, and they're really playing well. Expected goals are up 0.97. So they're playing really well this year, and I would prefer the Winnipeg side, but it's a situation for me where it's it's a home road type of thing, and Edmonton at home. It takes a lot to go against Edmonton at home. It's just one of those teams, like you said, that first line has just been terrific. It's hard to think of, when you got 32 teams in the league and the 2 high scorers are both on the same team. It's just amazing what they do when they're on the ice. So Edmonton, I think, is going to win. I just don't think there's much value any longer with the line. So it's a pass for me. I like other games better, but yeah, it's Winnipeg's playing well. I mean, I can't blame anybody for taking the dog here.
And Carm, I've talked about home ice versus being away, and a lot of people say that people should just be happy to go, 500 on the road during their season, and you should win those home games. And studies say that soccer or football in Europe is supposed to be the biggest home advantage type of sport. How much do you take into account home ice in hockey, Carm?
I still think home ice is it's important. Obviously, the most important things right now, because when you get down to analytics and face-off percentage, being able to make that last change, it does come into it when you're trying to line match, especially when you've got a team that is basically ghosting your first 2 lines, line matching, trying to cut down if you have no secondary scoring. You need that last change, even for the few seconds that a line avoids another one throughout the game. So yeah, I do put stock into it. I think with when you're looking at the top teams, that advantages even more. Look at the bad teams and maybe not so much. A team like, let's say, Arizona or the Sabres. I don't see it as much. As far as this game here, and Brian says it, I think Edmonton is the logical play here. The line is getting up there. Winnipeg's playing good. Like 5-1-1 on that 7-game homestand that they just finished. They won the last 3 in that. We've talked about it. Sometimes I like taking a team that had a bad road trip in their first game at home, as opposed to fading a team off that. And by the same token, a team that had a very good homestand, an extended homestand, I'll look to sometimes fade them in that first game. This might be a good spot for it. But I'm going to lean the total here. The total's at 6. I tweeted about it yesterday. The juice is a little higher now on the 6, which means that at some point, if people keep betting the 6, it's going to go to 6.5. So I'd rather get at 6. The Oilers 7-2-1 to the over their last 10 games. They're just a scoring team that didn't score in Winnipeg. A couple Draisaitl power plays. So maybe a little bit of revenge for that loss, 5-2 loss, and maybe being home brings some scoring out in this game. I'm going to lean to the total and the over 6 here, Andrew.
Great stuff, Carm. I'm right there with you on that total. I think that we're starting to see the star players come out for Winnipeg, and that certainly helps the over. One thing that Carmine mentioned last year during the playoffs that stuck with me, and I'm a big prop player, was the power play points. And Carm was crushing it with these, especially with the Tampa Bay Lightning players. The Edmonton Oilers right now are a perfect team to be betting these power play points. And as the betting world continues to advance, so many books are offering these type of wagers. You can bet a player just to get a power play point, a power play goal, and all of a sudden you're getting these boosted odds and these excellent prices with Draisaitl to get a power play point or Zach Hyman to get involved on the power play. And it just completely gives you a better set of odds. And if you look at a team that gets penalized quite a bit or takes a few bad penalties every game, it could be a good opportunity to make some money and get better prices. Because Carm, right now, McDavid to get a point is well over minus 200 every night. You take him to get a power play point, you're getting those odds way down.
Yeah, and that's the thing with Tampa Bay. We talked about it. We were talking about it in production even before we went on to do some of the puck time shows. That I was betting a lot of the Tampa Bay power play ones. You were getting plus money on whether it was Stamkos or Hedman. It didn't matter. You were getting plus money on these guys to get at least a point on the power play. And yeah, it's a big thing. If you don't get any power plays, you're not going to get any power play points. But teams were drawing penalties against Tampa and they were making them pay for it. And it seems like the same thing with this Edmonton Oilers team is that power play. They lose that game 5-2. The only bright side is 2 power play goals by Draisaitl. So you're probably getting some plus money on those power play points. It's not a bad way to go, Andrew. So I'm glad we agree on it because as much as I'm pretty happy about my win streak right now, you're having a damn good November. So I know you don't discuss it. I will. You're hitting like 62, 63% in November. So way to go, man.
Thanks a lot. Hopefully we can keep it rolling and all of us can get hot and, keep on rolling in the NHL and across the board. Speaking of keeping rolling, Brian, I know you're doing NBA as well. I'm very low volume in the NBA. College hoops is back, though. I love college hoops. I want to remind everybody at home, we have that WagerTalk You Pick special, NHL, NBA. Pick a sport, get that sport for just $99, which is great because I saw Prez do some very simple back-of-the-napkin math yesterday on WagerTalk today. He was telling everybody that $25 is one play, 4 days, and you were going over that price you would pay for an entire month. So hats off to the mental math there for the Prez. And great to see the deal that you can get there. Just 4 days the exact same price as you can get for an entire month of NBA and NHL. And speaking of the NBA, this is an NHL show. But Brian, I want to give you the chance to talk about what you have up today and for the rest of the week, just in general, at WagerTalk.com.
Yeah, I appreciate it. There's a big correlation between mental and Prez. So that was a good good analysis there. It's early in the week, so we've got a 5% play in Saturday college football. We also had the max has just been tremendous for me in my entire career in the last few days. In fact, ever since the max has been playing these weekday games, we haven't lost one yet. Haven't even lost a free play. So it's been very good for me. Right now, I've got 2 plays up in college football. I'm about to put 2 plays up on the NHL card for today, and the college has been going really well. I'm not going to have any NBA today, unfortunately, but college basketball has been great. And as the season goes on, you mentioned it, with that package is tremendous if you want somebody for college basketball because there's tons of games in college basketball each and every day. To pay $100 to get them for the entire month, I mean, that's crazy. That's $3 a day, and a lot of guys have put out a ton of college basketball, and I'll be doing that as well, ranking up my plays a little bit more. So a lot going on there. I did want to touch on a couple of things. The Edmonton that you spoke about with the power play. That is the one thing that scares the hell out of me when I go against betting in Edmonton. I just want a team to not foul. Just don't go to the penalty box, because if you don't go to the penalty box, that's a huge advantage. And with the Toronto, with the defense, I read an article yesterday on Twitter, and I can't remember who it was, and I apologize for that, but they talked about how they changed up their checking. And since they've changed up the checking, they've just been tremendous defensively. So that's something that we could take a look at in that regard. But yeah, really looking forward to everything now. Getting up every day off a lot of winning days, and just can't wait to get back to handicapping sports. And it's been working out very well.
It's definitely nice to go to bed and wake up after a winning night, especially when multiple sports are going on, Bryce. So I'm with you, and it's a great time to be a sports bettor and a sports fan. Carmine, we'll get back to our last couple games here. What's up for you at WagerTalk.com?
Only one play tonight. We'll see if we can keep that streak going in NHL. I may add more or some in-game. We'll see how it goes. A lot of them were left on the cutting room floor, but I'll mention a couple of them at the end of the show. One NFL play Thursday night, since I started at WagerTalk, my Thursday nights are probably the best NFL plays I've had. It's the higher winning percentage, 63% of every Thursday night play, and that's probably a sample of about just over 60 plays. So they're hitting, so let's just see if we can keep it going. So one play in each sports night, $39 gets them both, like if you get a one-day all access.
Great stuff. Yeah, that one-day all access is great to use, especially if it's a day that there's several sports going on. So great stuff there, Carm. Best of luck to both of you guys tonight. Let's get back to hockey. Let's get back to our games here. The Florida Panthers, they're in action tonight, and they're taking on the New Jersey Devils. They are minus 190 favorites at home. Devils are plus 160 on the road here. Total sits at 6. We have an 11-2-3 team taking on a 7-4-3 team. The Florida Panthers, they know how to bounce back, guys. 4 straight losses for them. They had the Islanders pretty much serve them a great plate where they just pretty much didn't show up. They were not ready. They were ready to go home. They were not ready to play hockey, however. And what a way to get your appetite back and feel good about yourself again than to absolutely beat down a team and score 6 goals. Meanwhile, New Jersey has dropped 2 straight games after a little bit of run that they had going for them. When I look at this game, guys, I actually like the under in this game. And I think that Florida has to learn to play better defensively. And even though they had a tired Islanders team, I still believe that that's going to help them the way that they played. Even though the Islanders definitely didn't put forward their best effort, I think Florida is going to start locking things down better, trusting their forwards, having defensemen jump up into the rush a lot less frequently. Brian mentioned the article he read about the Maple Leafs and their defensemen, and I think we'll start seeing that a little bit more regarding teams like the Panthers, Leafs, with these top high-end athletes as their forwards. They don't need so many players jumping into the rush because it causes so many chances going the other way. Meanwhile, the Devils right now are having trouble putting the puck in the net. So I like the under 6 in this game. Lean towards Florida. Might be a parlay piece for me, but I'm happy I got the win with them last time out. So I'll sit out on the side here and go ahead with a total on this game. Carm, are you with me or against me here?
I am with you, Andrew. A couple of things when you look at this Devils team is I think they're going to play a much more open game, or when they're playing at home. When they hit the road, they play a much more defensive game. We saw it last year. We're seeing it again this year. I think they're 3-1-1 to the under in their 5 games. They've only played 5 games on the road thus far, winning 2 of those games. And, a bit of a revenge spot here, if you want to look at it that way, for this Florida team. They played New Jersey in the second of a back-to-back and got absolutely bombed 7-3. We're never really in that game. And, now they're returning home off that 4-game losing streak. They beat the Islanders, and I think they're ready to put together a nice run of games and a win streak again. The thing about those 2 games, which you almost never see, is it was Spencer Knight back to back. There, you usually see him or Bobrovsky. So we'll see what it's like tonight. I have to figure it'll be Bobrovsky in goal tonight. While I like Florida and the price might be getting away a little bit, they're 8-0 at home. I'm on it. I'm along with you in thinking that the Devils are going to play a defensive game on the road, and Florida gets it done 4-1. Brian?
And is that an exact score prediction I hear, Carm? I wonder what that's paying.
I'll give you the 4-1, but I'm going to guess it's probably about plus 900 on your money. I'll get that for you shortly.
Sweet. Yeah, Brian, and he mentioned it is a revenge factor, Brian.
Plus 1,200, 4-1.
Plus 1,200. All right, so if they win 4-1, we're all flying to Carmine's hometown, and drinks are on him, Brian. Maybe he'll fly us out with that big price, plus 1,200. Wow.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on this game, Brian? And some
lasagna. My thoughts are anytime I've been with Carmine, he's wanted to pay. So it doesn't matter if he's winning or losing. He's one of the most generous people I've ever seen in my life.
Thank you.
Which is probably why I like him so much, because I don't feel that way. If I'm winning, great. If I'm not winning, maybe I can't play. But anyway, I agree. New Jersey's a team right now that I think is playing a little bit over their heads. The advanced stats are showing they've been a little bit lucky. Carmine really took all of my analysis, and that was that 7-3 defeat. It's rare that a good team, and Florida obviously is a good team this year. That's a team I picked to win it all, gives up 7 goals in a game. They remember that. It was recent. It was just on this last road trip. They lost the 4 games on the road trip. Now they're back at home. They're 6th in the league in controlling the puck at 53.55% expected goal percentage. This team, they're playing great ball. They're not as good as their 1.35 goals plus against per 60 is on the 5-on-5, but you can't keep that all season long. But they're still the class out of these two teams. And they're playing with a chip on the shoulder after losing that. And Carmine mentioned how well they've done at home. Yes, it's expensive. It's in the 180, 190 range. But the only way I could look in this game is Florida. Florida's got something to prove. They're coming out fired up. And New Jersey's a team that I just don't think is as good as what they've shown so far this year. So Florida's a team that I'm looking to play.
Well, Carmen and I always talk about, looking at the schedule. It's looking at a team that might start getting on a streak, Brian, and try and get behind them early in that. With a Florida team dropping 4 straight games, something we'll probably maybe never see again this season. Maybe they will. But that's rare for them to drop 4 straight games, especially the way that they did. It's also a revenge factor. Does that type of stuff play any factor to you, looking towards the schedule and looking for a streak, or is it more of a game-by-game, day-by-day thing for you? Because I think lately I've kind of turned into that. You look at a team like the Anaheim Ducks or even the Blackhawks after their coach got fired. Sometimes you got to look at a team when they're hot, but also try and predict when these streaks are about to start as well.
Yeah, you mentioned Chicago. If you watched them play, they weren't catching any breaks at all earlier in the season. Say what you want about Fleury. The guy was terrific last year. He wasn't as good as what he showed last year. Not as bad as what he showed this year. So I'm really big on regression. It's a long season, and I thought Chicago was going to run off some games, so they've been good to me. But that's something you always have to take a look at if teams are getting a little bit lucky, and that's why I always take a look at what the backup numbers say, as opposed to I do the same thing for basketball, and that's one of the reasons why you have success in basketball is just certain team will come out and win by 20, and if you take a look at what should have happened based on the shots they've taken, you can get that advantage where everybody would see, like Brooklyn the other day gets blown out by Golden State, and they go, oh, Golden State's great, Brooklyn, maybe they're not so good. But if you took a look at the advanced stats, you saw the game was very, very close, so I didn't overreact to that where a lot of people will. So that works very well for me in every sport, and it's one of the reasons why I didn't handicap that way 40 years ago, and none of us did. You've got to be able to take the information you have now and deal with it differently. If I still handicapped the way I did 40 years ago, I'd been out of business 20 years ago. I mean, you've got to make the adjustments, and that's what I try to stay ahead of every adjustment. I listen to a lot of the analytics guys, and I agree with what they're doing, and it's given me 4 straight winning years in baseball until this last year where they stunk. I got to figure out what the hell happened to me. But you've just got to be able to roll with the punches. And I think that's how you handicap these days.
Yeah, definitely. Always about making adjustments and making changes. Definitely. Let's get to our last game here. The Dallas Stars, the Minnesota Wild are going head to head. Don't look now, guys. Don't drop out your holding, but the Dallas Stars have gone over in 6 straight games. I can't believe I'm saying that. They have actually been involved in some high-scoring games. This was a dead nut under team, a team that was going to overtime every game. It was quite frequently a 2-2 or 1-1 going to OT. They're plus 110 on the road. Minnesota minus 130 at home here. Minnesota dropped their last game against San Jose, who just recently got some players back in the lineup. And I'll tell you, this Dallas Stars team, when they start scoring, they're a completely different team because they can play well defensively. They have a great goalie tandem. But Minnesota, this is a team at home especially. I look to back off a loss. And I believe, guys, we might have a Dallas Stars team entering this one feeling a little bit too good about themselves, kind of a fat and sassy, as Marco D'Angelo would talk about. And I think that Dallas has been playing some pretty good hockey lately, and I don't think they can keep it up. Meanwhile, Minnesota, that last game was a stinker for them. And, I talked earlier in the show about home ice advantage, whether or not I pay much into it. With Minnesota, I certainly do. Short and sweet here. I like the home favorite, Minnesota Wild.
Yeah, listen, that was a flat game for them against San Jose. They lacked energy off a 3-game road trip. They came home, and I'm like, okay, well, I like the fading the teams 4 games or more returning home if it's a good or bad. If it's a bad road trip, let's say. But the thing is, they look flat with 3 games, and they had 2 days off in between games, so it's not an excuse of returning home on 1 day's rest. They had the rest and the optional skates, so you have to figure they're going to come back and play much better tonight, which is why I like the over, because the Stars team is, like you said, I don't know if it's an anomaly. I don't know what it is right now, but they are playing games to the over. Sometimes you just have to stick with that because they used to be a dead under 5.5 team, but lately they haven't. So I expect for them to carry their good form onto the road in Minnesota, but get a Minnesota team that's playing, who's going to bounce back off that flat effort. And we should see goals. I love the fact that the total's at 5.5. It shouldn't be anywhere but at 5.5 with split juice on the over and under. And that's where it is right now. So I'm going to go over 5.5 goals here. Brian, what do you think?
I can definitely understand that. It's just hard for me to play Dallas games over because of the way they play. But yeah, I'll be rooting for you. I prefer the Minnesota here. It's interesting. The line opened up much higher, and Dallas took some money. Now it's in the position. Now I think Minnesota is. I'm not going to say a gift, but they're a nice bargain at where the price is right now. When you take a look at expected goal percentage on the season, Minnesota's number 1 in the NHL in that regard at 56.73%. Yet on 5-on-5, they're scored 31, given up 31. It's interesting to note the top 5 teams in expected goal percentage, teams that are just dominating play in the opposition's area, Minnesota, Toronto, Boston, Pittsburgh, and Colorado, they've all been outscored 5-on-5, even though they've dominated the play. So those are teams, we talk about regression. I would expect more regression 5-on-5 for those teams, positive regression. When you take a look at this game here, the Stars are a team, and myself, that is a quality team, but and they're playing a little bit better. But Minnesota, when you take a look at expected goals on the season, they're at 0.54, whereas the Stars are only up 0.11. So you got a Minnesota team right now that, based on what they've done so far this year, a little bit of luck going against them, as I mentioned. This price at home, 130, that's too cheap to let go. I think this is a play on Minnesota here, and I like this team playing home tonight off of a bad performance.
All right, let's go Minnesota. Brian, I'll throw it right back to you if I can. We'll try and put a bow on this show and wrap things up. One final time, let us know what people can grab from you and give us your best bet here for puck time.
Yeah, right now up on the site, I've got 5% in college football up. I've got another college football play, working on a lot today. Today's the day I load a lot of plays. Loving this college basketball card. So expect to have a lot of plays today. I've got 2 plays up in hockey. And hopefully we'll get another nice winning day here, about a nice little run. My computer is frozen up on a couple of the hockey sites that I have, so I'm going to have to go off the top of my head in this. But in tonight's card in hockey, I use Tampa Bay. I think Tampa Bay is my best bet on the show today. Thought the line's a little bit cheap here. They open 130. You can get them anywhere from 122 to 130 now. This is a team that, as we talked about earlier, this is a team that's one of the best teams in hockey, obviously, and they haven't played quite as well this year, but they're starting to come around. 2-time defending champs here. Philadelphia's a team that, at least as far as I can remember, I've been looking to fade on a consistent basis. I just think the line is a little bit cheap here, and I like Tampa Bay. They're just a team heading in the correct way, and in a pickup situation, if you were telling me who do you want, Tampa Bay or Philadelphia, based on what I know out of both of these teams since I've been handicapping hockey, I'm looking to fade Philly and take Tampa. So I actually like this entire card. I could have probably had 4 or 5 plays here, but Tampa Bay is the way I'm looking for my best bet today.
Awesome stuff, Brian. Thank you for joining us on Puck Time today. Great to have you, and best of luck with your big 5% play this weekend. Carm, I'll go to you, man. What's going on for you? And give us a best bet. They've been pretty solid for all of us on Puck Time the past couple of weeks here.
Yeah, my best bet, my free play win streak last night got crackened, if you know what that means. But I'll get to the free play in a second. 1 play up for tonight in NHL, 1 play up in NFL football. I have some cards loaded for the weekend, a 5% play Sunday in NFL and a Tuesday Champions League 5% play. So I actually have a coupon code that I used on my stoppage time show, which is CHAMP50, CHAMP, CHAMP50. You can get $50 off a off a 7-day all access package. So that literally will cover you through next Wednesday and get those plays that I just mentioned, along with anything else that's posted for only $69. That's like $10 a day. My free play, I had tweeted out a few days ago about the fact that the Carolina-Vegas line, the overnight, was low at 5.5 the total, and to grab it before it hit 6. That game finished 4-2. And I tweeted out last night, I thought the Edmonton-Winnipeg game tonight is a half a goal short. It's sitting at 6, and I'm going to go over the total on this one. Like I said, Edmonton playing well to the over, 7-2-1 their last 10. Maybe a little bit of revenge for a Winnipeg team that seemingly has their number, sweeping them in the playoffs and winning that first game a couple nights ago, 5-2 in Winnipeg. So let's see if the Oilers can get back on track, scoring some goals, and we can go over the total of 6. Andrew?
Awesome stuff. I'll wrap things up with my best bet, and it's going to be a prop like promised. And I'm going with an Anaheim player that has now gotten a point in 15 straight hockey games, guys. That guy is Troy Terry, a young player that is lighting it up. He is playing up there on the top line there and getting some great minutes as well. Power play stuff as well. He has gotten a point, I'll remind you, in 15 straight games. The price here is minus 125. Pretty much any other player in the league that would score a point in 15 straight games is probably minus 170 or 180 to score a point. Minus 125, Troy Terry to get a point tonight, goal or assist, minus 125. I have a NHL side of the night up, NHL total of the night up, and a college basketball play up for grabs at WagerTalk.com. On behalf of Carmine and Bryan, I'm Andrew. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
The WagerTalk You Pick special is live, giving you the option to pick the league of your choice and get 30 days of picks for only $99. 30 days of the NFL for $99, done. Just want NBA and NHL for the next month? You can do that for only $99 each. That's right, 99 gets you every release from the league of your choice from your favorite handicapper, including 5% best bets for 30 days. No coupon code is required, and 30-day sports passes will go back to regular price Sunday at midnight. So lock in as many sports and handicappers for only $99 before time runs out.